Aisha, it's great to see you. Welcome back to UTS.
Thank you so much, Daryl. Great to see you as well.
Thank you. Now, you've been designated as the award winner for UTS International Alumni. How does that make you feel?
Honestly, it's unbelievable. It feels like a dream. When I got to know it, it felt like a dream, and it's something recognizing the efforts. It's just amazing. So it looks like if whatever you do, there's somebody who's going to honor you for that. So it feels just great.
That's tremendous. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about your background, your family, where you grew up, some of the studies, and I guess motivations that led you to come to study in Australia?
I was born in a middle class family. My dad was a doctor. He passed away pretty early. I was 4 then. And I remember, cricket was into our life from by birth because everybody loved playing cricket in my family, my brothers. So I grew up playing cricket on the streets of Karachi, where I was born, and spent majority of my education has been in Karachi. I did my MBA, and before that, in 1997, I got a chance to. I was selected for the Pakistan national women team.
So you're an elite cricketer.
Yeah, I am.
All-rounder, I believe.
Yeah, all-rounder. I started off as a bowler, but ended up as an all-rounder, and also the opening bat for Pakistan. So it was after '97. It was just amazing. That's something that I knew that cricket and sport is something that I really wanted to do. But obviously that wasn't a career then. So I had to switch careers, and then I did my MBA, was working. This is how it was.
Yeah, and so why did you decide that you wanted to come to study in Australia, and what brought you to UTS?
When I was in '97, when I was going back from the tour, I remember I was standing at Sydney airport, and I looked up the sky and I said, you know what, I'm going to come to this country again, and this time for studies, and the next time for studies. And after 12 years, I got this opportunity from the Australian government scholarship. I applied for the scholarship. They asked me, and it was, and I never believed that I could get the scholarship. So it was UTS. I had a few profiled ones. So UTS was one of them, and I selected that, and I'm glad that I became a part of UTS.
And you chose the sport management program, and obviously that aligns with your background. What kind of things did you find that were interesting to you as a student? Not just the curriculum, but the experience of being a student.
Daryl, actually, see, I did my MBA in finance, and I was working in the financial sector. And then when I came here, because my passion remained cricket, but my profession was something else. But I was given this opportunity to do sports management. So when I came in, honestly speaking, throughout my study time, there was hardly a time when I had to really sit down and study. It all came natural to me. And the amazing part was that there were a lot of discussions in different classes that we attended, different subjects that we had gone through, and everything was very knowledge based and something information sharing, and you could share your ideas, you could do creative things. And this is something that has been my driving force now. Even there's nothing impossible in my dictionary, honestly, because I would like to do things. If I think of something, I think that's going to be possible. So this is how I work, this is what I learned, and this is what I'm implementing now as well.
Okay. And so, in terms of your development after coming to UTS, can you tell us about that journey? Because many graduates end up with a degree, but they don't automatically get their job of choice straight away. So, what was your journey like?
Actually, my mentor, if you remember Fatma Kurush, she was
yes.
the one, she took me to one of the leadership courses as well at the Olive Tree Women's Network. And she was the one who connected me with a lot of people. So I got one opportunity at Qatar, but I wasn't able to go there because of visa issues. But I went to Pakistan. Obviously there were challenges since it's a male-dominated sporting circle over there. But fortunately, I ended up into a sport for development project, which obviously in time I converted into sport development as well. So we were working on developing a curriculum for fundamental motor skills.
Yep.
There was a time, and then there was opportunities at Pakistan Cricket Board. So one person who was the general manager at that time, Shamsa Hashmi, she was the one. She saw me on LinkedIn. She had been following me for some time, and she said, there was an opportunity. She called me in and said, "Would you like to do that?" I said, "Why not?" And that was the start of it. And then we started working on the development side of cricket.
Yeah. So that's more than 10 years ago. So you've been now navigating your way to various roles, and we'll get to those in a moment. But when you got back to Pakistan and started to try to be impactful, what were some of the big challenges that you felt were confronting not just you, but anybody working in the sport industry and cricket specifically in Pakistan?
Honestly speaking, acceptability was one of the issues as well, because when I went back, people were not accepting of the fact that there can be women sport managers too. They think that just probably somebody who's doing a PTI or something like this. So the perceptions, it took a lot of time for people to have that acceptance, and you need to really convince people. Have to be very patient ourselves too. And then the other challenges were the opportunities. We've got sporting structures, but they're very rigid. They're not easy going. Whenever I used to apply for work, they used to say, "Where's your work experience? You don't have any work experience." And then people do not honor if you've got ideas, if you've got things. Oh, that's just ideas. They're not practical stuff. So these were the things that had been the issue, but. Since I got to work initially on the grassroots, on the school levels with the I-Lead program that I was doing, the Sport for Development program. So I got to, work. I know how the basics were. So it had really helped me when I went into Pakistan Cricket Board. I knew what areas I had to focus on. So that automatically, started to build my skills as well. And at the same time, I was able to make that difference. Though, it's a struggle. Every day is a struggle.
Of course it is. So you were part of the I-Lead program, and as you say, that provided you with a lot of practical experience that some people said that you were lacking.
Yeah.
No one doubted your intellectual skills or your drive.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the kinds of roles that you've done since then.
Coming to since at I-Lead, I was the project manager. So we had worked all around the province of Sindh, working with schools and teachers, developing their capacities in terms of building life skills, sporting skills, and we developed a curriculum on sport development as well, the fundamental motor skills and all. Then moving to Pakistan Cricket Board, then there are multiple things that we were working on, and I was given initially the opportunity to work on the side of international operations, the tour operations, then the development side as well. We're working on with the events, schools programs, making sure that we induct new players, and then we had those little academies that now we've set up. Though we've issues with grounds and availability of venues, but still we're working. We're making sure that girls get to train every day. And then I became a part of, as I was given the role of team manager as well. So I've been team manager in the domestic circuit too, and the national squad as well.
Goodness me, that's quite a remarkable journey, Aisha. The term role model is thrown around a little bit too loosely these days, and often it's associated with athletes. But it seems to me that in Pakistan or in sport more generally, the more very capable female administrators we have, the better. And so have you found any sort of connection with young women who are interested in following your footsteps, and maybe you're thinking of mentoring them in their journey?
Daryl, I've already been doing that because when I went back and I joined cricket board, a lot of the players who were already playing wanted to be somewhere in the management side. So one of them, Fiza is a graduate from UK. She's done a sports management and by the time I joined, she was, though she was doing studies locally, but when she got to know that I had done sport management, so then she initially, she said, okay, fine, I'm just applying for that. She went, she did her degree, she came back, and then we've constantly been in touch, and I just tell her how things are. She's currently working with FIFA at the moment on one of the projects as production manager ticketing. So there's people that I've been mentoring, even the players as well, because there was no concept of anybody having a life after their cricketing life. So they never planned anything like that. So what I've been working with, it's not a formalized thing, but I do it on my own, that you should be thinking on what you have to do after, as a player, after you leave or retire from cricket. So a lot of them have now been thinking, have been developing themselves. Now they can look up to that, apart from being probably the coach, they can be umpires, they can be referees, they're analysts as well. They're a lot into media and then management side of it as well. So, there are different people that I mentor time to time, as and when it's needed.
Oh, that's great. So for our viewers, anyone who might be thinking of studying sport management here at UTS, what would you say are the most important skill sets that they will develop as a consequence of that experience? What are the things that stand out for you?
Daryl, as I mentioned in my speech last evening as well, that think, change, and do. This is what somebody will develop, because you need to have that creative mindset as well. And you should. What I learned was, whatever you have to do, you just have to put your mind to it, and you will achieve that. And this is something that skill set of nothing is impossible is something that you will develop. And this is what changes. Brings change into anything that you do, may it be sport. People coming up, probably if I talk about, there was ODI cricket and Test cricket, but somebody came up with the idea of T20, somebody came up with the idea of T10. So these innovation is there. So innovation is something that you'll develop. Then it's like decision making skills, and you have that how you can communicate better, you understand people, the people skill as well, you develop that too. So there are multiple things that you'll develop when you come to UTS, because there are people from all around the world who are there pouring in their knowledge, information, and whatever their experiences are. So it's like a multi-tier skill set that you'll develop over time.
And so you've come to Australia from Pakistan. I'm not sure what other countries you'd visited in your life before that, but I understand that as a consequence of you staying here, you've kept lots of friends from different parts of the world. What does that mean to you?
The best thing is, what I got to know is like different cultures that are there. What I loved about the people that were around me, they were very careful of each and everything that probably relates to my religion. I remember Helena was there, then Maria was there. I remember I used to hang out with them, and everywhere we went to eat, they were the first one going and asking if this should be halal, the food should be halal.
Yes.
So it's that bonding. It's the human touch that is there.
Yes.
That, countries, religions, there's something beyond that. So that human element, that humanity is there, and that bonding still stays on. I just cannot forget the lot of things that people have done for me. I talk about you as well. I remember then, there were Ramadan, and
Yes.
I had a presentation, and that was just before at the time of the fast. So I requested you that, my voice is going down, so probably I can have my presentation after I break my fast. And you were like, oh, sure, no, why not? So, these things, these caring attitudes, they really, really motivate you, and you've got an automatic connection and bonding with people who do that.
If only university life reflected what's going on everywhere in the world, wouldn't that be a nice way of living?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. Now we have the Men's Cricket World Cup at present, and I know you're going down to Melbourne. How do you think the Pakistan team will go?
They've been doing well. At the moment the challenge is the middle order has not been doing too good. The bowling department is now back to normal with Shaheen Shah Afridi coming in, so probably they'll do good. See, our biggest challenge has been batting. The women's side as well, the men's side as well. I don't know what the issue is, but it's like probably they'll do awesome one day, probably they'll do worse the next day.
Consistency.
So the inconsistency is not there. So both the men's side and the women's side that has that issue, but obviously it has to do with the mental strength as well, how they can well manage pressure. They've been doing that well, but still there are issues with that.
And then finally, the Women's World Cup in South Africa 2023.
Yeah.
The Pakistan women's team does have a victory over New Zealand, I believe.
So and West Indies as well.
As West Indies. Yeah. So there's certainly potential there, and you're intimately involved. So what can you tell us about this team and some of the young women involved in this team?
So Daryl, currently I'm associated with the under-19 team because under-19 World Cup is before the senior team World Cup.
Yep.
So that's in January. So currently I'm working with them. So we've gone through the entire process of getting them selected, age verifications and things like that. Then we had first camp done on the skills. Now we will have them into playing matches against boys. And then we've got a final camp that we'll be putting them into, which has all the kind of skill set and everything that we can inculcate in them, just to make sure that they're prepared for the under-19 World Cup. So we're really excited on that. There are a couple of really good players that can make a difference. So we just need to put together a very good team for that. For the national side, yes, since I'll be associated with the under-19, so there'll be another manager going. But since I'm associated with them, so they've been doing well. What they need to do is probably play as a team, which I think is something lacking, and probably induction of a few young players too. So if a lot of youngsters come in, automatically the energy level, the performance in the field improves.
Team cohesion, on and off the field.
Yeah.
And of course, one of the critical things about sport, when it's done well, it's not just about the performance on the field, it's about what kind of people are being developed through sport.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that you will have a very positive influence there, Aisha. And look, it's been a tremendous pleasure speaking to you this afternoon. Congratulations again on your award. And you are welcome anytime again at UTS.
Thank you very much, Daryl. It's really nice to see you.
Lovely to see you too. Yeah.